Yo, what is good, y'all? It's your boy Ty, back here with another video. In this video today, we are going to be doing an episode of my team makeover where I take your squads and try to improve them to the best of my ability. Now, it's pretty difficult because we still are pretty limited on the card options that we do have, but I try to take your team, build it to where it needs to be, whether that's spending your MT or that's saving your MT, no matter where you are at. But if you are new to the channel and have not yet, please smash the subscribe button as we are on the road to 35,000 subscribers. To be eligible in my team makeover, you gotta follow me on Twitter. I do put out tweets every week. I don't know, it's either usually during the weekend or on a non-content day, and you got to reply with your team and MT amount to be eligible. So the first squad here we got was sent in by Carmelo. He says he has 100k MT to work with, and the first problem I see with this squad right here is the fact that he's running MosBallin and Kristaps together. Now, I know a lot of people who do that, and I don't like that at all. I don't like it. As far as the speed standpoint, I don't like it at all. So, first thing I'm going to do is Boogie Cousins. I know you're a free card and you're not the worst, but you have got to go. And for 100k MT, it's kind of tough because at that power forward position, there's not a ton there. Now, if you could plug in Dave DeBuscher, I think he would be good. But for now, for the time we're in, you could either go with Richard Jefferson or Bailey Howell. For the sake of this, I think Richard Jefferson fits this starting lineup good. Plug him in right there for just a little extra MT. Then the next position I think that you need to upgrade is that small forward position from Rolando Blackman. Now, you can do that in a lot of different ways. There are a lot of good cards out there, but for now, until you can get that elite card, such as like let's say Kevin Durant, for example, Rolando's going to have to hold it down. You should have about 80k left. Now, if you want to grind so you have the MT worth to get that diamond KD, it's probably your best bet. But for now, if I'm you, I'm waiting to see what the content is like tomorrow, and I'm stacking my MT waiting on that. And this is the squad I would rock out with. This next squad was sent in here by my boy Noah. Shout out Noah, a real one on both YouTube, always tuning into my videos, and on Twitch. Says he has 300k to work with, but doesn't want to drop below the 150k mark. And so we're going to use about that 150k MT and try to work with this squad. So the first thing I see is Kristaps and Rick Smits are together, and they're both centers, so you can't run them together. Either way, I'm selling Rick Smits just because he doesn't personally fit what I think you're trying to build your team to do. I'm fine with Chris Webber here at the backup center. I like KD. Bailey Howell is fire. But with your squad, in my opinion, you move Bailey Howell right there. And if you want to, you could pick up Boris Diaw. I personally do like Boris Diaw quite a bit. Now, it's a hit or miss thing. If Boris Diaw doesn't have any badges, then he's not that good. But with badges, Boris Diaw can become very, very good. So, what I'm going to do with your squad here is carry kiddos. I like you, but your time has come. Gonna slide Brian Winters there, KD right there, plug in Paul George right here, and then to cap your lineup off, we're gonna try to pick up a badged out Boris Diaw to build your squad. Now, what I like to see, what I really like on your squad is everybody on your squad can shoot. Everybody can shoot. Now, Stockton has range. A guy like Kevin Durant's gonna have that bronze range as well. So you got shooters all across the court. If you can find maybe a badged out PG, that's obviously optimal. Same thing with Boris Diaw. But finding badged out players aren't easy to do. But if you spend your MT wisely, you can pick up those pieces and really maximize your squad. This next squad here was sent in by my guy Josh on Twitter. He has about 7,000 MT to work with, so not a lot of MT. Looking at his starting lineup, he does have Sleepy Floyd, Doug Christie, PG, KD, and Kristaps. What am I supposed to say about that starting lineup? What am I supposed to say? I absolutely love the starting lineup. The bench needs a lot of improvements. And I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you here, but the tough part about it is we don't have a lot of great centers in the game right now. So Scola is going to have to stay there. I don't mind Boris Diaw, but Patty Mills and Andre Iguodala, I'm not a huge fan of them, and they might have to be replaced. Now, how you go about replacing them can get interesting because there's not a lot of great cheap options at this point in the game, especially if you don't have any sort of tokens. What I might encourage you to do, and I know a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but what I might encourage you to try to do is work your way up those token boards, because even a guy like an Earl Monroe or even a World Be Free could help you out quite a bit, in my opinion. Now, Other than that, I think obviously your starting lineup's good, and you just got to keep building that MT mount up, because once you can get a better point guard in here, it doesn't even have to be that good of a point guard. Even if you can go get the likes of a World Be Free, that would be incredible. Obviously, like the Steve Nash, obviously those guys would be even way more better as Stockton, but we're not going to look towards those guys. Even the simple guys, like a World Be Free, you could plug in World Be Free here, let's say as an amethyst token reward. And then if you're on the amethyst, there's also a guy like Dave DeBuscher, that if you move KD here and plug in Dave here, you're starting to see your squad come together greatly. Now, I don't know where you're at on the token boards, but that's something I would look into, because there's no replacing free players. I mean, they're literally free players you can add to your squad. So that's probably where I would look if I was you. This next squad here was sent in by my guy Chavez on Twitter. Says he has about 180K to work with. And here's the thing. What I'm going to tell you first and foremost. If your Bob Cousy does not have any range, you got to swap your point guards. Okay? You have to. And here's the reason why. Because with Giannis, you're going to have to run a pick and roll solely. And with KP, you can run a pick and pop. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. Next thing, he says he has Houston and Mitch, and both of them have bronze clamps. If they have bronze clamps, they can stay around, because they can play a little bit of defense, and that's a big thing. But the only other thing, the biggest thing I see right here is you got a balancing act here. Okay, Paul George at the backup 3. I'm starting to see the lineup come together a little bit more, rather than if you're running Howe and Dave together. But here's the thing. If you run Cousy and KP together, that's a great duo. That's a great duo, because most Kuzis don't have range. I don't think Kuzi's supposed to be able to get range. So most Kuzis don't even have a range extender. So if he doesn't have range, he can still shoot around screens. I'm not going to argue that. But I like Stockton moving and grooving around screens a little bit more than I like Cousy moving and grooving around screens. Now, that isn't to say Stockton still can't go get you a dunk on top of somebody, but because he can. Stockton just is a better at moving around screens. That's the best way I can put it. But other than that, I like how your lineup's coming together. I will say this, though. The defense is you leave a little bit to be desired. Let's say with your starting lineup, how many of those guys have above bronze clamps? I don't know. And so you might want to look about getting maybe a Doug Christie in there for Allen Houston, possibly something like that, if you're looking more towards the defensive side of the ball. But other than that, this squad you have is absolutely perfect, and I can't really give any suggestions. This next squad here was sent in by my guy Hims on Twitter. And first things first, he says he has 70K to work with. And I see Earl Monroe. Listen, man. I know Earl Monroe gets disrespected quite a bit, but he's good. Trust me when I say Earl Monroe is very good in this game. His release leaves a little bit to be desired. And he can't get clamps or range extender. But his dribble moves are enough. His dribble moves can create for you. And I like that quite a bit. So I know some people even in his comments was like, Earl ? Earl's good, okay? Earl is very, very good. The next thing I see, you say you got a little bit of MT to work with. Your shooting guard position is absolutely terrible. But I get it, because I've been in this position, right? The small forward, power forward positions are good right now. Then you look at the shooting guards and you're like, what am I seeing? But it's not just you, it's everybody. Everybody's shooting guards are pretty weak right now, and I don't really know where I could tell you to go. Obviously, if you replace one, the guy I recommend most probably for his price, I know his price has increased a little bit, but would be Doug Christie, just because of how efficient he is. But for now, until we get the content drops this week, I'm fine with you sitting on these token rewards. But the biggest thing that I see with your squad that I like is how you run a Stockton with an inside big and Earl kind of with Mike and who can stretch the floor a little bit. I like that a lot, because Stockton with an inside big is something you can definitely work with. So if I was to give any suggestions, it would be the shooting guard position, and maybe picking up a Brandon Roy if you could afford that. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to get rid of Kerry Kittles and pick up Doug Christie. I absolutely love Doug Christie because of how he can defend at such an elite level. So if your Elgin is let's say Elgin's Galaxy Opal, so he got gold clamps, Stockton got clamps, and overall your defensive unit's good there. Your backups, Christie has clamps, PG got clamps. Like, your defensive units are very, very good, very versatile, and that's what I love about your squad. This next squad here was sent in by my guy RCA on Twitter. You guys know who RCA is the GOAT, okay? Balling out early on in this year. Put some respect on his name. But I do want to say he had Isaiah Thomas at the end of his bench, but I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to get into is he has over 200K to work with and has this squad. So I'm not going to be telling him to add anybody, change anything. The one thing I'm trying to do is just give any suggestions I can to try to improve what I see within this lineup. Okay, so just on his starting lineup, Stockton, clamps, Christie, we know how he defends. Paul George, just look at the defense on his starting lineup. And then his bench, Steve Nash. Okay, look at the badges Steve Nash can get. Mono, look at the badges. I know his mono has Hall of Fame clamps. Pierce, Durant, Lanier. Look at the defense he has. So one thing, RCA, that I personally would suggest if I was you, now this is my personal opinion, is finding a way to get KP in the lineup over Bob Lanier. Now, I don't know who you run between these two. They were both on your squad. But I think Bob Lanier doesn't give you near as much as KP. That's my personal opinion, though. Because here's the thing. With Kristaps, he gives you the ability to stretch the floor. He's 7'3", so on defense, he moves better than his speed and lateral quickness should. He contests shots. He grabs rebound. There's everything about Kristaps I love, but I'm fine with the Amethyst Giannis in the starting lineup, especially if he's badged out. He is so good, and I listen, I have no words, RCA. Your squad is incredible. This next squad here is going to be a rebuilding type of squad sent in by XMS on Twitter. Says he has 70K to work with and he's completely lost. And listen, that's okay to be completely lost, especially if it's at the start of the game. It's pretty overwhelming. But I'm going to try to help you today. Now, it is going to be a little bit difficult for me given your current situation. But to start with, the guy that I rocked out with a long time at the shooting guard position is Chris Middleton. Now, I will say he's not great, but at the shooting guard position, he's going to be able to at least hold it down for you. So then you move on to this backup small forward position, and I'm going to go and plug in a guy like Trevor Ariza. Now, I personally think Ariza can get it done at a decent enough rate to at least get your squad off the ground. Get your feet up off the ground so you have something to work for. So two pretty cheap options right there with Ariza and Boris Diaw. Now, your power forwards, I am going to spend a little bit of MT on because I do believe it's worth it. So at the starting power forward, I am going to plug in a guy like Bailey Howe. At the backup power forward, I'm going to plug in Tony Kukoc, okay? Or Kukoc. Okay, so those are the guys I'm going to plug in there. And so now you're starting to see your squad to come together. It is a budget squad. That's what you have to work with right now. Now, at the center position, it's tough because it's tough to find good centers for cheap. I'm going to plug in Bill Laimbeer here at the starting center position. And at the backup center position, I'm going to go with a guy like Rick Smits. Now, is this squad absolutely incredible? No. Is this squad good enough that you can win against most people in the community? Yes, I do believe that, and I believe this is the squad I would rock out with. Alright, that is going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of Extreme Makeover My Team Edition. Comment your thoughts on any of these squads down below. Also, are there any guys that I'm too high on? Did I overspend on some of these squads? Let me know that as well, guys. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.